Hey, welcome everyone to another operating session on the Utah and Rocky Mountain Railroad. And welcome to the Riggins Division. In our last few episodes, we left Moscow and traveled down to Riggins, and we ended that trek by arriving in the yard which we see before us. And what we're going to do today, we're going to get started by moving our locomotives over to the engine facility so they can be serviced and refueled and prepared for their next assignments. And then we're going to come back over to the yard and start moving the cars and organizing things so that we can dispatch some trains. So with that said, let's get started. Since our arrival, it has started to snow. I'll remind you that the simulation, we are simulating a late February day in the 1950s. Okay, we're going to grab our caboose and connect it up with the waiting cabooses, and we'll push these cabooses back up and set their handbrakes so they'll stop rolling. Our time is basically 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so we'll start our service with the engines stopping for sand. Then they'll stop for coal. And then they'll dump their ash pans and head on into the roundhouse. And this is where we'll leave them for the time being. Okay. Let's go ahead and check out the yard so we know how we're going to organize things. So track 1, this track right here are for cars going to Boise. They have 2 tracks. Then we have Idaho City. And then we have Moscow. And then we have Coeur d'Alene and Spokane. And so that's the rough grouping of the cars. I believe if we look at what we have in the yard, we have a ton of stuff going in Riggins, and I think we'll break this into a couple of locals. This string here is all going to Riggins. And then the next track over, we have going to Riggins. And then we have McCall, New Meadows. And then we have some more Riggins cars. And then over here, the third track, we have, again, Riggins. Looks like we'll have just about 3 locals so far. These are all Riggins. Coming over to the next track, we come into some Boise cars. And then we have New Meadows, Boise, New Meadows. This is a mix of Boise and New Meadows. And then we have some cars that are actually headed up towards Coeur d'Alene and Spokane. This is Kent and I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong track. These are all Riggins going to the end here. And our cars going up to Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, Kent area. That's these cars here. And then we have New Meadows. And then some more Riggins. These are our cabooses. And then, of course, this string here, we have more Riggins cars. So we have a lot of local cars that we're going to have to dispatch some trains for. So we'll try to organize the Riggins cars so that the cars are grouped in appropriate strings based on the direction they're going to go out here. So let's go ahead and get in our switcher. I think what we'll do, we're not going to work systematically here. I think what we'll do is we'll start with the strings where we have things like New Meadows in them. So let's attack this string here first. Okay. Let's go down here. We're interested in grabbing these New Meadow cars. Here's a McCall car. So I think I'm going to cut right here. Okay. Now on the cars here, we've got a McCall and we've got a bunch of New Meadows. And so we'll go up here. Idaho, Boise. Idaho City. And Boise. Now these cars technically would be placed on a train headed to Boise, but they don't need to go all the way down to Boise, so we could, in theory, put them on a train headed to Idaho City. So that's where we're going to place these cars. Now these destinations don't currently exist on the Module 1 map. Idaho City actually will show up in Module 2 after we get finished with the Module 1 update. Our route building series will focus on the Module 2, and that will get us down to Boise and add Boise and Idaho City to our destinations we can actually drive to. For our Module 1 update, we are currently working in the valley where Orofino is located. That's a little bit more time consuming because we're upgrading the way the river looks. Once that work is done, we'll be moving again and we'll come down to the Riggins area and we're going to work on that river. And once we have that done, it should be pretty quick moving down to New Meadows and McCall's. And I'm running my mouth and I didn't realize we'd gone this far. Nice. So, but the point is the Module 1 update is going to come, and once we've got it finished, I'll package it up and we'll get it up on the DLS so that you guys can use it. After we get through with the Riggins Division, so remember we always run the divisions for a 24-hour period, we will be moving to whatever the latest map that is being worked on for the Module 1 update. so that we can start testing the map to make sure that we haven't messed anything up. Let's move him forward a little bit. I don't want the New Meadows cars so far back. I'll pay attention this time. I'll stop running my mouth. Nice. We're going to use the classification yard to handle the local train assembly. Now we'll put these cars back where we found them. And that whole string will be Riggins bound. When the route building series gets down here to Riggins, we're going to do the same thing that we're doing up by Orofino. We're going to upgrade the way the river looks. Let's see, it's probably a little too far. Let's go here first. Okay, now this string should all be Riggins at this point. Riggins, and it looks like it is. Okay, so now we're gonna come up, grab our engine. And we'll grab the next string that has New Meadows or Boise cars. Anything that's not staying in Riggins, basically. That's what we're interested in. Okay, so let's take a look at the next row. Okay, these are all Riggins. Riggins. Okay, so we don't need that row. But the one next to it, I see Boise. So here's some Boise cars. Whole string of Boise with some Riggins. So this is the next one we want. Brakeman does his thing, and now let's pull this string out. Time is 7:30 in the morning. All these cars that are sitting in this yard through previous episodes up in the Coeur d'Alene Division and in the Moscow Division, anything we sent down to Riggins is actually sitting in this yard. If you're wondering where these cars came from. They were all tagged, so I really didn't have that much to do to set up this episode. Okay, let's take a look and see what we have. So we have Boise. Most of the string is Boise, and it's just the front end is Riggins. So that's real easy. So we're going to send the cars over here. We'll start with the Boise 1 track here. The Boise trains, when we were further north, we could have them exit the map on the Module 1 by using the Riggins portal that's over here next to the engine facilities. Since we're now in Riggins, we'll just run the Boise train down to the edge of the layout, and since there's no portal down there, they'll just be deleted off the map. Nice. Get Module 2, we can actually run them down to Boise. Boise has a huge yard on it. And Idaho City has a smaller, much smaller yard on it. Okay, now these cars we're going to put with the Riggins string. We'll start consolidating all the Riggins car, and that'll open up track in the classification yard in case there's any trains that show up. And these are all Riggins. Okay. Now let's go get the next string of cars that are not going to Riggins. Okay, so now let's take a look and see what we have. So we already discussed this string. This was all Riggins. So now we're over on this string, and we've got Spokane. This looks like Kendrick, which is up by Moscow. This looks like Spokane. And then we've got some New Meadows. And then the rest of then we have a Riggins and some more New Meadows. And then finally some Riggins cars here. So what we're going to do, like we did before, we are going to cut right here. So let's go ahead and get our locomotive hooked up here. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and grab our cars. We're going to leave the Riggins cars. We'll come back for these. But it looks like this is where we're going to break. Okay, so we have some New Meadows, Spokane, and Kendrick. Spokane there. Okay, let me see something. Did we mess up? We left some New Meadows cars. Nice. We should have actually broken the train back here by the tractors. Oh well, we'll go back and get them. No big deal. This actually simplifies what needs to be done. So these cars are New Meadow, and we said New Meadow could actually go to Idaho City. So that's where those are headed. So let's get a little bit closer so we can see the action. Brakeman does his thing. Now let's push these cars in. And we're going to stop right about there. Yeah, the remaining cars go up to north to Moscow, and we also have some going to Spokane and Kendrick, which would be the Moscow, and we have the Spokane. Oh. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. We have Spokane. This is Kendrick, so these are going to Moscow. And then the remainder is Spokane. So let's go up here. Spokane is this track. Let's see. Coeur d'Alene. Okay, there's our Moscow. We'll stop these cars basically right about there or so. Maybe a little bit further back. Yeah, these cars are Spokane, so they're going up with these tank cars. Then we'll go back and grab the New Meadow cars that we had forgotten. Brakeman does his thing. And we'll stop them right about there. Okay, so now he's going to go back and get the cars we forgot, and we'll pick up any cars that are left in the yard that are not staying in Riggins. And then we'll work on the Riggins side. Time is about 10 minutes to 8. So we'll see how much time we have after we get all these non-Riggin cars organized. Okay, so let's go up here as I take a drink in the river. We leave this switch alone. We're going to come back and grab these cars. These are the New Meadows to here. And then on this string, we have, these are all Riggins. Riggins. Okay, so these will be the last ones, and then we can finish consolidating all the Riggins cars in the yard, and we'll go from there. Our local trains from the Riggins Yard run as far north as the coal mine, and so those would be the northbound trains. And southbound, we go to New Meadows and McCall and Boise. Those are all the considered the local trains. The Boise actually is not part of Riggins. The Riggins division ends basically at McCall's. So the locals won't go any further than McCall. Okay, let's go back here. I think we said the tractors were where it ends. Yes. And now we'll bring these cars forward. Okay, let's take a look at what we have. New Meadows. So all these go to New Meadows. And that would be Idaho City bound cars. Yep. Nice. I think I double clicked when I shouldn't have. Brakeman does his thing. We're going to go back to about here. Okay, let's go and check our work. Make sure we've got everything that's not sticking around in Riggins out of these strings. Okay, it looks like we've got everybody. And there's our McCall car. Okay, so now what we're going to do, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, but before we end this episode, let's come in and let's grab this long string and we'll connect it to the short string. These 3 tracks are full. So we'll take this built string and we'll put it over on this track here. So we're going to take the long string, add the short string, and then move it onto this track. And in our next episode, we'll focus in on these rigging cars and get them organized into trains that we can dispatch. Brakeman does his thing. And now we're going to pick up the short string here. Okay, now we're going to get the short. Brakeman does his thing. And now we're going to move them over, this string over to this track here. And the Riggins cars, they're either going up towards the coal mine, those are our northbounds, and then they're staying down here in the Riggins since they've been classified for Riggins. They would be basically cars over in this area. So we can set up a train that'll handle the really local industries, and we'll set up a train that'll head up and service the industries on the way up to the coal mine. And that's where we're going to leave this episode. The time is 8:09 in the morning in the Riggins Division. In our next episode, we'll build our local Riggins trains and see if we can't get some trains dispatched. And that'll pretty much clear out the classification yard so that we can then begin receiving trains as they arrive in Riggins. If you like this type of content, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Your subscription helps to ensure that this type of content remains on YouTube. You can help us grow the audience by liking the episode. Please leave your comments and suggestions. And if you'd like to be notified when the next episode becomes available, hit the bell and make your selection from the menu that appears. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.